What are some of the mindset mishaps that result when people misunderstand a victim mindset? Well, in this mini tutorial, we are going to cover that plus so much more. Again, I'm your coaching instructor, Louise and Maurice, and I want to thank you for sharing your valuable time with me. I will keep things very succinct, very on point. We're going to cover a real world case study. You get to apply my evidence finding framework as well as discovering key concepts in abnormal psychology so that you can apply it, develop a changes in mindset technique, as well as client specific coaching questions. Because this is all about supporting you. Now, if you are not familiar with my 5-part evidence of finding framework, I'll just quickly review that next. You are a coach, consultant, manager, or team lead, and you are excited about starting the new session because the last session was a huge success. You start by framing this session with positivity by saying, you had a successful session last week. Before we get started today, what was a highlight moment for you after implementing the motivational technique? The client responds, I should have known that nothing good can last. You made me get my hopes up, and now look what happened. Now I am right back to square one. You talked me into this, and I could have done this all on my own. The result? You are completely caught off guard because you did not see this coming. You just listen to that case study and you understand how it shows up. And this is pretty close to how that victim mindset shows up. And every time that happens, it really can pull down your coaching session, your client session, your team. There are just so many ramifications. Now, as you were listening to that case study, what evidence were you able to find? What attitude was evident? What point of view or perspective? The language that was used, and who was the person that you found? All right, if you haven't already written down your responses, make sure that you do that because as we continue, I'm going to share with you some insight and then we can compare notes. What was their attitude like? The negative attitude of blame. You made me. You talked me into this. Now, what about their perspective or point of view? Well, I should have known that nothing good can last. That's how they see things. Nothing good can last. That lens of negativity. Loner, can't trust other people. What language did they use? Get my hopes up, nothing good. Focused on other people doing things to them. Did you recognize that person? Well, this person rationalizes why nothing good happens and is not self-aware at all. Situations, people, events, everything impacts them, and they are always the victim. Now, where does this misunderstanding start? It's interesting when you move through that framework, you have a better understanding, but right from the beginning, where does the misunderstanding start? Well, we know that foundation of the definition. And the definition, yes, the dictionary definition is important, but more importantly, it's the attachment that people have to that word victim and all of the different meanings, and quite possibly how they have been harmed or wronged. And on the spectrum, there are so many different ways, and that's not necessarily what you have to dive deep into, but what you have to be aware of is how it's showing up in their life right now and how it is impacting them, and how to be able to move beyond that and guide them to change that victim mindset. Sometimes starts with understanding a little bit of psychology. And the psychology that we want to understand is abnormal psychology, because in order to develop that empowered mindset solution to change a victim mindset, you have to be able to understand the origins of it, because when you understand that, then you can guide people in a more specific way. And I say that very much, always client specific, and your client can be whomever. But when you develop techniques, you have to follow the evidence finding framework so that you truly do understand. And when you do that, then you can apply the technique as well as develop those coaching questions that are going to support them. And we're going to look at that free Wikipedia resource and just give you some insight. All right, let's go to that website now. We are now on the free Wikipedia site for abnormal psychology, and it's a part or a branch of psychology that's a little tricky, especially when it comes to people who are just getting in their own way or might not be aware of their blocks and obstacles. So you always have to be very aware of that and never say to them, okay, we're going to use abnormal psychology, because you will definitely unleash behavior that is more resistant than normal. But abnormal psychology is the branch of psychology that studies unusual patterns of behavior, emotion, and thought. And as you scroll down, you'll see the psychological explanations, and I want you to focus on the irrational beliefs, because those are driven by unconscious fears, and that can result in the abnormal behavior. And REBT, or rational emotive behavior therapy, helps to drive irrational and maladaptive beliefs out of one's mind. And this is important. I want you to click on this hyperlinked and underlined title, and this will take you to the Wikipedia website for REBT. And as you move through and you read about it, you understand, wow, this is powerful. But what I want you to focus on even more are the core beliefs that disturb humans. Albert Ellis has suggested 3 core beliefs or philosophies that humans tend to disturb themselves through. And as you read these 3, you will understand that that is at the basis of our victim mindset. I absolutely must, under practically all conditions and at all times, perform well or outstandingly well and win the approval or complete love of significant others. If I fail in these important and sacred respects, that is awful. And I'm a bad, incompetent, unworthy person who will probably always fail and deserves to suffer. Right there, you can understand that that is the foundation of a victim mindset, as well as the next, and definitely the third. And sometimes when people have taken the law of attraction and everything has to be easy and positive in their life, then they completely disregard the fact that there are opposite sides of every coin. And yes, it'd be wonderful if everything were easy and quick and enjoyable. I want to get from point A to point B without any disruptions, but that's not the reality. And if things are a little bit more challenging, then they can't face it and they will see themselves as a victim. So when you are developing those coaching questions, remember I've got the 5 steps on that PDF document on my website. And at the end, I'll share with you where to find that. But I would start with the coaching questions, and you can ask questions with regards to these 3 core beliefs and then segue or move directly into developing techniques, and just techniques that look at, well, what if the opposite were true? And let's look at some role play with regards to you as the coach, consultant, manager, team lead, being someone that actually says this and having your client or your team looking at you saying this and basically seeing how ridiculous that sounds. Yet this, unconsciously, this is what some people are driven by. All right, so make sure you definitely go through those steps, read about these, and you can also use the ABCDEF model in your techniques or your coaching questions. We have learned so much, and I want to thank you for learning with me. If you are here, give yourself a pat on the back. Yes, these are mini tutorials, but sometimes there's just so much insight that I want to share with you. I truly do want you to be successful. If you can guide people beyond that victim mindset, it really will help them to see the world in a different way, see the world in a way that supports them. But we listened to that real world case study and then applied the evidence finding framework, because it all begins with that understanding. That is key. And then abnormal psychology to develop those changes in mindset techniques, as well as client-specific coaching questions. Because when you follow this process, this is something that you can do on an ongoing basis. It really helps you show up in a meaningful way. And that really is the point. Now remember, I've got this mapped out for you. You want to head on over to my website, louiseandmaurice.com. You want to click on free, then empowered mindset, and then locate the victim mindset PDF document to download. It's free to download. You don't have to add your email address. I want you to have access to this very valuable information, as well as providing you with ongoing learning. Now, if you are not a subscriber, hang tight. I'm just going to quickly share with you how you can subscribe.